Hello, welcome to this video tutorial series on Linux audio production. How to record and produce audio using your Linux computer. For this series, I'll be using Xubuntu. It's a Linux Debian-based operating system that is free to download and free to use. This is their website. And if you currently don't have it installed on a computer, you can download it here and follow the instructions on how to install it on your machine. I'm going to assume that you already have Linux of some kind installed. I use Xubuntu mainly because it's very lightweight. It uses something, a window manager called XFCE. And if you're not familiar with what a window manager is, it's basically just the program that draws these, windows and deals with these menus whenever I'm wanting to use a graphical user interface like this. The main purpose is that it's very lightweight, so I can install it on older computers that maybe don't have the best hardware capabilities that are available, and it's really advantageous for me because I can install it on a laptop like this older Intel i3 computer, and it seems to run just fine. Overall, I don't have an audio interface for this guy other than the one that comes with the computer already, but I think it should be adequate for demonstrating how to use Linux for audio production purposes. So, one of the main things that we need to be able to do in Linux is to install software. And I click my mouse icon. I think this has changed in later versions. I'm running kind of an older version here, actually, on this laptop. But somewhere in your mouse menu, your XFCE menu, there should be an option for software or software management. This is a great application for installing software in a very easy fashion. You can just search for what you want. One of the main features that I'm going to be demonstrating over the course of this series is how to use something called Jack. Jack stands for Jack Audio Connection Kit. It's kind of redundant, but is very cool. Probably in this software manager, you're just going to want to install QJack. QJackCtl, or QJackCtl, as some people like to call it, is just a graphical user interface for the Jack server. Jack server runs on the computer and basically talks to the audio hardware and allows us to connect inputs and outputs from different software packages to each other. So I'll kind of just start here and give you a quick explanation of what Jack is, what it does, and what we can do with it. So I'm going to assume that you've got it installed. I had it installed already. That's why it's saying remove or launch. Otherwise, I'd probably have install, and that's all. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead. If you wanted to open up Jack, you would come down here to multimedia, and I have a lot of Jack utilities installed already, but we want to find QJackCtl. That's what we're looking for. So when it opens up, you'll have something like this. You'll need to hit start to get it running, and when it starts, you'll get this output ports and input ports, this big fancy kind of messy looking screen. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of in here. You can actually see the screen recorder utility. I'm using Jack right now to record this video, but the main thing is underneath the system you've got Capture 1 and Capture 2. This is the stereo sound card input. So that's where I'll be taking. Right now I'm recording my mic from this input, and it's going into the simple screen recorder. So you can see that right there, how this green line goes into 1, and from 2 there's a green line to 2. It's also going into the jack source, as well as this other jack source. Not sure why there are 2 jack sources, but that's probably an old configuration issue. But yeah, it's kind of the advantages is being able to connect inputs, like my mic here, to multiple software packages. So kind of start with an example of how to use these things using some MIDI. You see there's 3 tabs up at the top: audio, MIDI, and ALSA. ALSA is what allows us to connect MIDI to other applications that come through the ALSA system. That's just another Linux audio system. And it's compatible with a lot of MIDI controllers. So I just have my MIDI controller plugged in via USB, and we see that we have an output port. It also has an input port. Strangely enough, it's just a controller, so I don't know what I would be putting into it, but we're going to use it as an output. So one thing I wanted to be able to use was a program called Synth V1. For whatever reason, it didn't show up in the software manager, so what I've got to do is open up Terminal if you want to install it, and here we'll type in sudo, which just stands for super user do, so that's changing from the current user, which is Abram in this case, to our super user, which is root. And I would say apt install synth v1. And I've already got it installed, so I'm not actually going to install it now because it's already there. Yeah, it says it's already at the newest version, so we'll just Control-C break that. But that's how you would install it if you can't find it in the software manager. I'm going to go ahead and open up that program up, Synth v1, and here it is. It's got a couple of oscillators here, a DCO1, DCO2, as well as some effects, which are pretty fun to play around with. But what we're going to do is we're going to connect my MIDI controller to the synth. So here I have the MIDI controller highlighted. Here I have the input for the synthesizer, and I hit connect. So now they're connected, and when I send MIDI data off of the controller, it should activate the synthesizer. Now what I need to do now is it doesn't connect these output ports from the synth to the input. And in this case, I want to connect these to system playback so I can hear it. So I have out 1 highlighted, playback highlighted, hit connect. I'll do the same thing for out 2. Highlight both of those, hit connect. Now they're connected. It does look like the synth is also connected to the screen recorder, so you should be able to hear it as well whenever I send some MIDI data to it. And so I'll do that now. So there you go, just hitting some random keys. And yeah, I'm getting sound, which is cool. You can change, say I want to change some tones here, get different kinds of sounds. Just changing the wave shape of the audio that's coming out. And there you go. There's a way to connect MIDI from Jack to Synth v1 and turn your computer into a synthesizer. We'll go ahead and end this video, and then maybe here in the next video we'll start connecting synth into our DAW so we can actually record and create some tracks.